Katy Perry's Blue Origin space trip was supposed to be a milestone for space tourism, but it quickly became one of 2025's most controversial moments. What was meant to be a groundbreaking experience for women turned into a viral spectacle. Let's unpack the drama that followed her space journey. Joe Rogan didn't rage. He just observed. While Katy Perry held up a daisy, calling it a symbol of hope, Rogan simply called it what it was: a dead flower, snipped from the earth and glamorized mid-flight. His quiet criticism hit harder than any insult, because it was grounded in truth. While astronauts train for years and face real danger, Perry floated in a capsule run entirely on autopilot. No buttons pressed, no missions managed, just cameras, metaphors, and vibes. Her astronaut moment felt more like cosplay than courage. The daisy wasn't a symbol of resilience. It was a metaphor for everything wrong with pretending spectacle equals substance. Rogan's deadpan reaction became a viral moment, not because it was cruel, but because it was so accurate. It exposed a truth many felt but hadn't said aloud. This wasn't a mission. It was a marketing stunt. Then came the official mic drop. The FAA released a statement clarifying that none of the passengers, including Perry, Gayle King, or Lauren Sanchez, qualified as astronauts. Why? Because they didn't perform any safety-critical tasks. They were passengers, not pilots. That cold, bureaucratic announcement cut through all the speeches and hashtags like a scalpel. For all the making space talk, they had done little more than buckle in and ride. The internet erupted. What was pitched as a historic female-first moment was now confirmed as a luxury roller coaster ride. The term astronaut means something. It's earned through training, skill, and risk, not through fame or fashion. The FAA didn't need to insult anyone. They just stated the rules. And in doing so, they shattered the illusion. The message was clear. If everyone's an astronaut, no one is. And this crew hadn't crossed that line. The moment the FAA weighed in, the internet took over. What followed was not criticism. It was combustion. The term space tourists in Gucci trended, with users mocking the crew's glamorized voyage. Astronaut girly crew became a meme genre, slapped onto photos of brunches, shopping trips, and spa days. Perry's weepy speeches got mashed into alien abduction posters and war zone memes. And the crown jewel? Wendy's official account tweeting, "Can we send her back?" A four-word roast that incinerated the entire mission's credibility. Social media wasn't reacting with anger. It was reacting with instinct, calling out the glaring gap between spectacle and substance. Once the narrative turned, there was no pulling it back. Katy's space saga wasn't a breakthrough anymore. It was a parody of one. And the memes, they didn't just mock. They defined the legacy. Then Amy Schumer entered the chat, armed with sarcasm. She posted that she'd been added to the mission last minute and just happened to have a spacesuit in her bag. Obviously satire, but it hit like a sniper shot. Why? Because it was so believable. The fact that people could actually imagine Schumer hopping onto the flight on a whim said everything about how unserious the public perceived the mission to be. Her joke exposed the fragility of the branding. If a comedian could blend in without anyone blinking, what did that say about the original crew's legitimacy? Schumer's satire wasn't just funny, it was deadly. It exposed the idea that this historic mission felt random, arbitrary, and deeply unserious to those watching from Earth. And once satire feels more real than the official version, it's game over. While others mocked loudly, Martha Stewart clapped back in silence. She posted a throwback clip from 2007, floating calmly in zero gravity. No tears, no speeches, no hashtags. Just a casual flex. It was devastating. The contrast couldn't have been starker. While Perry's team orchestrated a billion-dollar branding campaign, Stewart floated and moved on, never calling herself an astronaut, never demanding applause. Her silence said more than Perry's monologues ever could. It was a lesson in restraint, and it resonated hard. The internet crowned Stewart as the final boss of the clapback. She'd done it first, done it better, and didn't need a flower or a speech to prove it. Her post wasn't shade, it was strategy. And it landed with the precision of a guided missile. One of the most quoted lines from the mission, "We weren't just taking up space, we were making space," was meant to be empowering. Instead, it became a meme. Critics started applying the phrase to anything performative: influencer trips, PR stunts, even yoga retreats. The phrase, originally intended to symbolize unity and progress, quickly came to represent out-of-touch messaging from the elite. Because from the outside, it didn't feel like space was being made for anyone. It felt like a few rich, famous people had gotten glammed up for a very expensive Instagram moment. The gap between intention and perception grew wider by the hour. The slogan backfired because it tried to sell a narrative that didn't match reality. And online, nothing spreads faster than a catchphrase that misses the mark. Lauren Sanchez saying, "We're all in this together," from a luxury capsule struck a nerve. It wasn't just tone deaf, it was radioactive. While people on Earth were struggling with rent and grocery bills, hearing a billionaire's partner talk about cosmic unity felt insulting. The disconnect was staggering. The line wasn't just mocked, it was dissected, replayed, and recaptioned across platforms. Meanwhile, "I'm splitting rent with 3 people" became the standard response. That one quote encapsulated everything wrong with the mission's messaging. It wasn't aspirational, it was alienating. And it turned what could have been a unifying moment into a meme that symbolized elite detachment from reality. The internet didn't reject space. It rejected the idea that space now belonged to influencers. As backlash mounted, a new term started surfacing: fulmanism, a mix of feminism and fantasy. Critics argued this wasn't about gender equality, it was about applause. These women weren't breaking barriers, they were breaking Instagram engagement records. Floating in zero gravity with camera-ready hair and designer suits wasn't empowerment, it was aesthetic. Real women in science, tech, and education began voicing frustration. While they fought for visibility and funding, Perry and her crew were being celebrated for a 10-minute ride they didn't even control. Fulmanism wasn't just a clever word, it was a sharp critique of performative activism, where symbols replace substance. And in the eyes of the public, the Blue Origin trip had crossed into that territory. It wasn't inspiring anymore, it was infuriating. Major outlets didn't cover mission details. They covered outfits, Lauren Sanchez's nails, Perry's tribute to her daughter via floral embroidery. The press treated the flight like a Met Gala at 100,000 feet. The mission's aesthetic overwhelmed its purpose. Space wasn't sacred, it was stylized. And when you frame a capsule as a runway, people start asking questions. If this was history, where were the engineers, the systems, the real stakes? Fashion in space isn't a problem, but when it becomes the headline, it cheapens the event. The takeaway became clear. This wasn't space travel, it was space-themed marketing. And the public wasn't interested in clapping for couture at zero gravity. Despite all efforts to frame the mission as transformational, the internet reshaped the narrative. The more the crew cried, posed, and spoke about empowerment, the more they were seen as disconnected. One tweet said it best: the only thing orbiting Earth was their egos. And from that moment, there was no return trajectory. The backlash wasn't a campaign, it was a consensus. Katy Perry didn't become an icon, She became a cautionary tale about what happens when branding overtakes authenticity. The mission may have lasted 11 minutes, but the fallout is still spiraling. Because once you become a meme, you don't control the orbit. You just watch it from below. Katy Perry's Blue Origin flight sparked a wave of memes, critiques, and official statements that dismantled her space pioneer persona. What began as a glamorous adventure became a lesson in the difference between celebrity stunts and real achievements. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more.